All right.
Hello, hello.
All right. Well, shall we?
Really
Let's give this a try.
good.
Are you able to hear me
I
okay?
can't hear you.
You can't?
Hi, now I can hear you.
Oh, good.
Yeah, now it's better.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Awesome. So I have in the extensions section a
Mhm.
little thing that's already set up for analytics. So I'm going to move this over to our 2023 utility just to confirm that it's, been reviewed.
Mhm.
Because what these do is this allows us to set up kind of preset some of the settings for your imports.
Oh, awesome.
When I click on this, it'll actually have some preset settings that will be helpful for
Mhm.
us.
But
And so the first thing I need to do is basically
change it to a
import.
CSV. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just opening up a random Google Sheet and starting an import process. I'm gonna have it just create a new spreadsheet for me. Make sure that it's a CSV that I can work with. This looks right. There's just one tab at the bottom. The columns have a title. And what I've got here is page URL, page title. And I'm gonna jump over here. Page views, unique page views, and bounce rate.
Yeah.
So I believe if I go to my hidden columns, I can see that page views and all that stuff is here.
Mhm.
Now, I don't know why. Oh, the reason why there's separate columns for these different date ranges is
Mhm.
because, and it's kind of temporary, like once you don't need those date ranges, you can remove them.
Okay.
But it's because these page views aren't like accumulated over time. These like numbers are here because you set a date range in your report. So
Yeah.
these numbers are like determined about the these numbers are based on the date range in the report. So that's why it makes sense to add those columns before you import it.
Okay.
That makes sense, because if you import it
Yeah.
into the existing columns, it's just going to replace the numbers, and then your reports for these periods are not going to be accurate. So
Yeah.
I think the important step is to look at the previous one and see how it's named so that you can name it the same way. So page views, space dash space. So I'll just turn those on so I can see them. And I'll just basically duplicate. But I'm not going to duplicate the field because I don't want to duplicate all the values, but I'll just page views and then I'll do the date range, which is 7/1 to 12/31. So that's like 7/2022 to 12/2022,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Great. And then I'll do another one. Did that just add? I feel like I just like entered something and then it just went away. Oh, single line
Yeah, that is
text.
how many times that's gonna happen to me?
I think I didn't like actually create the field. So then I'll do unique page views, single line text, and create. And so now I can hide these again. And I'm in the all analytics like table. So if I want to set up a new report, what I can do is duplicate this and then name it. And then I can move it into the reports section.
Okay,
So now I
okay.
have it. And the
Okay.
views are all here. The views just mean that it's a saved configuration of what's visible and what's not visible. That's all. So then you can
Right,
have lots of
right.
columns moving on into the future, and not worry about cluttering things up.
Brian, one question. So when you created, you just created a duplicate view of all analytics?
Sorry, what was that?
You just created a duplicate view of all analytics?
That's right. When you duplicate
Yeah.
a view, it doesn't change anything about the data that's in this table.
Okay, awesome.
A
Okay,
view
that's
is a view is not duplicating any rows. It's not duplicating anything. It's just a bunch of settings. And in fact, one thing that's cool to know is that you can actually open up these. There's this little menu here for each of the views. And you can do all sorts of stuff. You can copy another view's configuration. So if you wanted to like do some cleanup, you could say, oh, I want, all these to have the same column width and height as the other ones. Just like little
cool.
nuances like that. And you can also stop. And this was just another conversation, but like you can also lock views so that people can't change the configuration of a particular view. And that's
Yeah.
just, there's a whole like layer to using Airtable with a team. That's just like risk management, because nobody intentionally deletes stuff or like, when they're trying to do maintenance.
Yeah, it's just a
But
mistake.
it can happen if you don't like, if certain views are set up in a certain way. So
Yeah, yeah.
So what we just did is we set up the view for this before we import to it, because we want to have some blank columns that are set up for that date range. And then
Yeah.
this analytics import is going to be ready for us to take this. We can import the bounce rate, but I don't think we've been tracking that. So is that correct? You haven't been tracking the bounce rate?
No, we don't track bounce rate. No, it's because the federal government just asks for page views and unique page views.
Okay, cool. So I just imported, and now what it's going to do is it's going to confirm like that this is the table I'm importing to, that I want to merge with existing records, which is correct, because you do want to merge like based on the URL with existing records, so that you're not just adding a whole bunch of new things.
URLs, yeah.
The first row is a header, yes, but this is where you get to match them up. So page URL, so yeah, page title, page views. And now this is, yeah, so it looks like it's connecting correctly to it, but I did have to set up the unique page views.
Right.
There might be some value to putting the date like before the other thing, just so that we can like more easily find it if it's like cut off like this, but for now it seems to be working. Okay, so now let's look at the errors. So a bunch of stuff had duplicate values, so that's interesting. My kid's having a meltdown, which is like good timing. It's the afternoon is kind of rough because he like just started like skipping his naps like normal for most of his life. He like naps all afternoon, and so he's just like a tired wreck.
I don't understand why he'd want to skip his naps. Why is he skipping naps?
I don't know. He's also doing this thing where he's like, I'm hungry, and you're like, here's your favorite snack, and he's like, no.
He's like, not for that.
He's like, I have to pee, and we're like, all right, here's the potty. He's like, no, I'm gonna hold it until it hurts.
What's his sign?
What? Oh, he's a
What's his sign?
He's a Virgo.
He's a what?
A Virgo.
Oh, he's a Virgo. Oh, yeah, Virgo men. Yeah. I have no
Stubborn.
advice there. I have no advice.
Yeah. Yeah, he's born into a all 100% Scorpio family, so it's,
Oh God, y'all are problematic. That's funny.
yeah. So, all right, here we go.
Mhm.
Non-unique merge values. This stuff is a little weird because I don't totally understand it.
Yeah,
Two
no,
records
it's not totally clear to me.
stuck to 2 records with merge field value. 210 rows ignored, duplicate values. So the merge field is just the URL. So I think that what that means is that there's a whole bunch of stuff that's like this, like new up. This is just
Mhm.
the home page. And when I search for it, okay, it looks like it's only on there once.
It's okay.
There might be a few that are duplicated, right?
Yeah. I'm not surprised that duplicates in this situation at all.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because Leslie said she had cleaned a bunch of data, but I'm thinking she cleaned it in distributions, not in Analytics Hub. So that's interesting. I think I have to. Okay.
Well, it's so weird because like analytics, the analytics like table is the stuff that's in there is only there from Google Analytics. So I think that
Yeah.
we're safe. It's gonna create a bunch of records, but does that look like way off, like 600 and something, like new
No,
since July?
no, that doesn't. No, not to me, because we've added a lot of publications, but also a lot of things got like we add publications from other sites. We also did a lot of redirects, I think, over this period of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder what this like Friendly Rock.
I've never seen that site in my life.
Yeah, so
We must have it linked somewhere though. We have to have it linked in terms of like a web page. Oh, there go. Is that it? Is it the public benefits? No.
well, so it's possible that like, and again, this goes back to just some important conversations about the website just needs maintenance. There's just like no way around it. And there's certain
Yeah.
aspects of
Yeah.
the website that just need more maintenance. And I'm excited to dig in and try to do some of that stuff because one of the things I want to look at is this URL somewhere on your website? I'm just
Yeah. I
gonna
mean, I couldn't.
do a dry run of like a search in the database to see if there's like where this is or how many times this is in here. So that'll just take a minute and I'll let you know. But okay, I mean, I think we can go ahead and do that. It's ignoring some stuff because it's just duplicate.
Mhm.
Non-unique merge values overridden. That makes sense. Yeah. So this just means like that many are going to be updated. Yeah.
Nice.
Right down here,
Okay.
673 will be created, 4,000 records updated. So all that looks normal. I think we can just save records now.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that as well.
Yeah, Friendly Rock is not appearing like on your website. So somehow, somewhere that's
Is
out.
it possible that if we have a link to another site on our website and they have a redirection to that friendly URL sites that it would show up in our analytics? Also, I'm thinking that it might also be related to the fact that in our Google Analytics, I think we have a legal momentum site that that I think it's connected to like the old organization, one of the first organizations that Leslie started, co-founded. She also still has control, or that domain is still connected to our analytics. I've never seen it. I've only seen it show up like 1 or 2 times in a report with a link to like a material that we created. And so that's why we need the analytics for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because some of that, like some of the resources she created during that time were proprietary. And I don't know, it's the whole thing. I couldn't get into it, but she would better explain why it's there. But it's one of my guesses is either one of the sites, one of the external sites that's not ours, linked on the webpage is also has a redirect to that site. I don't know. But okay. And so then in this 722 report, I should be able to change the distributions, like what distributions range is being pulled and put inserted into the column, and then like getting that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
What's weird about this is that like you can see a lot of the things that are connected,
Mhm,
you know, where the URL actually matches to a distribution
mhm.
are kind of strange, where the title is just new web library. Well, and also this URL is like your old, like an old URL, like pre-migration. Where
Yeah, we
like,
tried to sell students. Yeah. Mhm.
so I wonder,
Yeah.
so look at this, like previous reports that we've set up had a filter on it where the page URL does not contain WP Engine. So I could go in here and I could do the same thing where I could say page URL, you know, there's 533 records that have this like old thing. That's
Well,
not
I
really
think,
relevant. And
yeah.
it doesn't
Yep.
matter because there's no page views on it anyway. Like Google Analytics isn't even reading this stuff because it doesn't actually exist anymore.
Yeah.
So it's okay to filter this out of your report. So now,
Okay. I
now
just
that
have to
I've
make sure
done
that
that,
any distributions tied to those. Yeah.
and then I can say where like page views is not empty. So now we're seeing all the stuff that organized. It looks like it's also sorted by page views. It's sorted by page views in 2021. So if I update that sort to page views 2022, you can see now the most popular pages are, and this all makes sense. The homepage, the benefits map.
That's all states charts. Yeah. Benefits map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This all tells a story that makes sense. And it also shows us a little bit of like the when this column that says distributions data, we need to figure out like where that actually comes from. That looks like it could be an old, maybe that's matched up. Maybe that's matched up to like an old page views report. Yeah, 219, 178, 316, 275. So that's interesting. Especially because these things are on different items. That's really weird. But these are also duplicates. Yeah. So that's actually cool. That's actually indicating that it's starting to correct itself, because what
Yeah.
what we want to be able to do is take something like this, the title, help brochure. If we paste it here, it will automatically connect to the correct distribution, which then you should be able to also see if this distribution was also provided during an event, the event would automatically be here as well. Which is, and so with
Yeah.
the at the
Yeah.
moment,
And I've always,
yeah,
we started connecting things in events and in contacts, and so now we're getting we have contacts that are having much fuller pictures in terms of their event and history, what distribution they receive, things like that, and so it's all good. It's great, actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
But check this out real quick, because this is actually maybe left over from a previous idea. Right here, it's connecting to the distributions based on title, which is risky, as we know, because some stuff, the titles need to be fixed, or the titles are spelled wrong or whatever. And this is a pretty accurate read of the title because this just came right off the website from Google Analytics. So we know that that's the title. But it also is inaccurate because it tells us that the title on the website might be outdated. Like if the title on the website just says new app web library, but it's this page, maybe the website title needs to be updated so that it's more accurate. That'll be better
Right.
for your search engine results as well if the title of the page is directory of programs. If I go to edit the page, I wonder what the page title is. Yeah, the page title,
Yeah.
I wonder if the asterisk like renders the page title like meaningless or something. That's weird. I don't
Yeah,
understand
that is weird. Because I've never understood why it would be web library, because we instruct students to put a page title.
The title should be up here in the browser tab at the top right, and it's not, it just says new app web library. So that's going to mess up your ability to connect analytics to distributions if the titles are all wonky on the website and not accurate to the.
Yeah, when I have students entering distributions for publications, sometimes I'll tell them to take like the slug and enter that because it helps them like find the publication, and they've been adding them that way. So yeah, but it is better practice to do it this way. And
I
we have
took
to
out the
clean that up.
asterisks and nothing changed. So that's I'll put the asterisks back just in case, it served a purpose, but that's very strange that the title is that the title isn't like appearing in like a more normal way. So yeah, so it's weird. I was gonna say that like from the distributions table, the URL here links over to analytics, and then it displays for you. I have another column in here that shows the title. See right here, page title from Google Analytics. Looks like it's right there. So it's interesting. At some point, I feel like that's the big maintenance task, is to be like this page title from Google Analytics looks basically the same. All the links are different, and the title in your distributions table are all unique. So it's really, really interesting. Oh, the links are the same here.
Yeah, no, yeah. And those, I mean, it seems like it created new entries when there was an issue of commas in the title. I can tell you already, like we have for years instructed students when creating training pages to separate, like to put the whole date so it has commas in it. We have like, if we have, I just realized this for
Oh
one
yeah,
of the
yeah, and that's why we
PA
don't want to pull the
subjects.
title from here over into other things. Well, it's okay because the URL is always going to be like a stable, unique identifier.
Okay.
But it does, yeah, it really like that's a really interesting puzzle because it's hard to like use this table in conjunction with this table accurately at the moment. But you do have your analytics report that gives you based on the URL. And you get the title from the website. There's just so many.
Yeah, so then,
web library.
so then in terms of Ryan, like the distributions area, because I know I saw when you were in distributions that the links are pulled from the analytics sheet, like the page URL in analytics. And so I just want to be sure that like the changes Leslie has made to the way a publication looks in distributions like all the tagging that is assigned in terms of a brand and a product type, etc. When I create, when I go to distributions and I create a view of all distributions and I relabel it to make it a report, I think I know how to do it. I think I know how to do it. So I don't even think I need to finish the question. I think I got it.
Like when you go in here and you have a report.
I think I understand it.
Yeah, it's interesting because we are pulling page views here on the distributions. Like, at
Yeah.
least, that was the idea, was like to have a report that showed, in person
So,
and then page views. But there's also tools that will
yeah,
give
I think,
you, yeah.
sign is,
FaceTime audio is fine.
okay, I'm gonna do that now.
So we've got a spreadsheet. Will you mute or disconnect from your Zoom audio? So there's no feedback. All right, test, check. Okay, cool. So, all right, we've got a spreadsheet and it has data that belongs in two places, TA calls and contacts. And we have to do the contacts first. This is where city, zip code, phone number, and all that stuff originates. Since the TA calls database is for calls and has lookup columns, it's a little magnifying glass for those contact details. So what we want to do is we've got the contacts import, and we have another one that I'm going to add another CSV extension that I will name TA calls import.
We also included the TA events.
Okay. Great. So there's also TA events. And the events are just in here, right? They're just named.
Yeah.
Oh, right here. Nice. And
The event and then the event date or the date of the.
okay. So there's a comma in the date that we should just be careful
Oh,
of.
yeah, you can, let me just double check that I renamed it in the. Yeah, I haven't renamed it in Airtable, so I'm gonna remove, I'm gonna remove this information. If any, you can just keep LAV grantee orientation.
You
I just
mean,
renamed it to, like, I just renamed the event in Airtable to just be LAV grantee orientation instead of that all title.
okay, because then you can go back into Airtable and name it again in Airtable and it will push that name to everywhere. That makes, yeah, that's what you were thinking. Okay, great. Yeah, so then let's do that. So basically we're going to do a search and replace in this database for this entire thing and then replace it with just LAV grantee orientation like that. Okay, perfect. Okay, yeah, so it'll automatically create the event, but if there's event details that need to be added, like event type or grants.
No, those, I didn't want to import those. I don't want to make those a part of the
Okay,
import.
good.
Because it would be too much like content, like I want to create.
Yeah, I agree.
So.
You want to just like edit that in one place, which is the events table. All right, so I'm going to download the CSV that's ready to import, and I'm going to start by importing contacts. So I'm going to upload that CSV, merge with records. It's going to match by email. And I'm going to go through this and just match them up. Is there a phone number? Okay.
Yeah, we do.
Zip code. First name is down here, but it's not up there. Perfect. The event should just be able to be linked right there like that. See how sometimes I have this like prefix with I? If we were nervous about automatically connecting to something, then you could turn this off and use the I name of event instead to like safely import without importing into a linked record. And then you could go in and like use a filter to find it and then make those changes manually. But since you were really careful about the name matching, we can import directly. but I also put X's in front of those because I didn't think we needed those anymore. That was more for like the setup process. I'm going to turn that off. You could see that that was matched to zip code and was going to give us some problems probably. We went up to
Yeah,
zip.
the imported org type, the org type is another thing that we were super careful about. So the org type should be able to be imported and linked to the org type that's in the list. Because I was really careful, like that's one of the first things I'm instructing students, like it only can match what's in
Okay. So organization type, is that even in the? So what's one thing that I like about this CSV importer is that I can close it and open it back up to go back to where I was previously. So I'm just gonna like poke around and then I'm gonna go back. So organization is in here.
Yeah, organization is something that we have to go through because there's so many organizations created. But import type is like the more important field because it's on the reports. We don't report on the different organizations, we report on the organization types. And I noticed that organization type is an imported field because it's connected to a person, yeah, but that's also yeah.
Okay.
I've only been using that imported org type field.
Okay, great. So
Yeah.
we'll use that and match it to the org type. That's correct, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, so there's a couple people that look like they just have some duplicate records, so it's just gonna match that up and that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
152 records will be created, 43 will be updated. There's 43 people are already in the system. Let's see, is there anything else that is not been added? What about job title?
Well, so I'm glad that the
is
job
blank.
title, we can add it, but yeah, job title is a field in Airtable, but we have it blank for most of these books.
Cool. Yeah, okay, so now we can import this. And then there's also some data in here that would be part of the TA calls table, like TA subjects.
Mhm.
And this stuff was not showing up in our import options because it wasn't in this table to be imported too. So that's kind of cool.
Okay,
Um,
my contact number just keeps going up.
so I have this filter that says last modified is on or after 1 week ago. That's interesting. I thought that it would show. Oh,
That would be
created
cool, yeah.
time. I'll do
Usually-
created time. There we go. Created is on or after a week ago. So this shows all the records that were created recently, which is basically
Students
recently
created
imported.
too. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, you can see students probably created a bunch of records on 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, and then this is our big import today on the 24th, 3:37 p.m. So it's nice to like have a view called recently imported just because it lets you look at your import. So that's why I have that recently imported view. But it also is nice because if you have a imported view, it gives you a way to like set up your columns to match the way that you set up your spreadsheet. So that way you can refer to it if you need to.
Okay.
Instead of like referring to like some other view that might have like lots of columns that you have to like constantly discern around. So now we can do the TA calls and we're gonna use the same spreadsheet. And we're merging with existing records and we're going to merge with the email field.
by email. Mhm.
And so email, last name, phone. And this is going to save this setting so that next time you do it,
I just
but you should still
Okay,
always review
yeah.
it. So date, method, email, TA subjects. Is organization even part of this?
No, it doesn't have to be
It looks like it's an option, which is,
organization type that really matters. So,
it's funny, 'cause
Yeah,
it looks
it
like it's
is.
an option, which means that we have two different directions in which like things can be linked to organizations. It would probably be best to choose one direction. Like only have it
Yeah,
be the
but I think
contacts or something.
Yeah, only have it be the contact that the organization that contact has. So I think we're like, I was looking at the organizations tab and I thought like, God, this is a lot. But once we clean up the organizations, it'll just be about when a new organization, we have so many people from all across the country that I think we have like a good pot of organizations like to like clean up and then just
Cool.
organization.
I'm just gonna add this
Yeah.
note into this field. And then when we're doing like our cleanup tasks, we can have these X's are gonna let us know. And this little note just lets us know that the reason why we would delete this is to really prioritize the context database or context table instead as the primary place where we track that information. And so I'm going to turn these off again from being displayed. All right, so go back to my import and we're going to skip organization. We don't need to import.
into it, Walls.
Huh? Oh,
I'm just
Yeah,
double
yeah, yeah.
checking that the import you're doing from
Yeah.
TFLs. Okay.
the table was incorrect. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. That would have been a big deal. So yeah, email. First row. So we don't need to import any contact info, but just date of call, subjects, the new up staff, method of communication, interns, inquiry type. That all looks accurate. And I'm gonna
Is
close
the
it.
email from contact? Mhm.
Yeah, this looks like it should also be the email because this is gonna match. But I want to make sure that it's okay that it can pull to both sections. So email TA caller is the primary field in this table. And then this is the connection to the contacts list.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
great. And then we should create a view. I'm going to duplicate this view, move it to utility and rename it recently imported and do the same thing so that we have created time is within the past week. And just like make that a thing that we can keep track of. Looks like there's a bunch that were created within the last week. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I have students creating records like crazy and linking records, all kinds of stuff is going on.
Okay, cool. So I could even make it like created within the last day, just so if we wanted to review this import.
Mhm.
Because we want to review it. We don't want it to get like sorted out of sight.
Mhm.
Yeah, so this all looks great so far. We're skipping all the personal info because we don't
Yeah.
need to use that. So I think we're good. So 164 records will be created, 38 will be updated. Oh, date of call.
Ooh, that's a good one. I need that one. So
But it
that's
says
interesting.
here
I
that it-
wonder why.
Date of call right there. I wonder why that was giving us a hard time. Let's see if
I'm wondering if it's because, is it in a different format? Oh, because it's in a different format. The date of
Oh.
call in the TA call system is 2020, yeah. I just have
Do you know how to
change
change the format in Google?
No, I don't. Actually, yeah, go to format. I'm pretty sure it's that way. No,
Number,
yeah.
date,
Sure. And
like this?
date. The custom date and time. Yeah, that's the one. That's the way it's supposed to look. Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's handy. I was gonna say another way to do it would be to create like, to use one of those like, just a plain text thing, prefixed by I. So like import,
Mhm.
and then you import it into a column like right next to it, and then Airtable is able to convert like the date format for you if you need it to.
Okay.
So, all right, so now we're going to just go back to it right here, TA calls, and I think that it'll save the mapping even if I cancel and re-import. So let's see.
So
Day of call, TA subjects, interns. Yeah, it looks like it did, except for email. The reason why it didn't save that is because it's already using the email column, so it thinks it's used up.
yeah.
So that looks good.
And then date of call is the okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It was matched up before, it just wasn't working. All right, we got an error. So
Awesome. Love to see it. I really love this thing.
okay. So here's the recently imported.
That's amazing.
It looks like they all got brought in. The method of training matched up.
Awesome.
The emails matched up. And look, it's sourcing we know it worked because we can see the data in these lookup columns.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's a few that are just like awkward. But these were created like an hour ago somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, it must be a student working it. I mean, they're still figuring it out. We're also figuring it out together. And every time, yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
not surprised by that. But that's great.
That's okay.
Awesome.
That makes sense. And then you have like, we can go in here where the email is empty. This is like a utility view that I set up where I just like run filters for stuff like that.
Yeah, I've been playing with filters too. Yeah.
Like that's
Because I
interesting.
noticed that I had at first when students were adding calls, if they didn't process the contact first, then like it wouldn't and check that the contact had an organization and state assignment, it would cause an issue.
Yeah.
And so I'm really glad to have that part figured out. But yeah, that was through, I was able to clean a lot of it because I just I assigned filters and then went through the filters, saw what was there. And it was really, really helpful to do it that way.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. I'm so happy with that. That's amazing.
Cool.
And then, so my last point really is just to clear up the fact that, like when I'm doing a report on TA calls, for example, it goes